Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. Live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's a Tuesday. We'll have Buddy Martin in just a second. We'll have Chris Harris from FloridaGators.com. Gators travel tomorrow down to Orlando for a Thanksgiving tournament. I think it's Wichita State, Minnesota, and Wake Forest. So while you're eating your turkey, you can watch the Gators play basketball. Missed it last night. The Hardball Bowl game. Jim loses again to his brother John. Ravens beat the Chargers last night on Monday Night Football. You got some MAC football to the MACtion tonight, and a lot of Maui Invitationals kicked off. We'll talk with Chris Harry about that as well. Let's go to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, and we're joined by the host of the Buddy Martin Show, Buddy Martin. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Morning, Shane. I'm doing good. My head's still spinning. I'm still trying to figure out what went on the last 3 or 4 days. We talked about it on my show last night. Complete reversal of fortunes. If we could take our show from 4 weeks ago now and play it where they were and where they are now, the Florida Gators have made. I won't call it a turnaround yet. I know you won't either, but I will say I don't remember two more impactful games back to back in terms of a trajectory of a program. You and I, Franz Beard, talked about it last night. Franz been around for a while. I think we have 136 years of watching Gator football from the time we were kids, but it was an amazing thing that we saw. And I don't know what exactly happened. I've read a little bit about it. I heard Billy talk about something went on in the open date, which I kind of laughed at when Billy first said, but apparently they found something. That something is confidence. Somebody inspired that team. It had to be coaches. They were a different football team, and what a day it was for the Florida Gators at the Swamp, which, by the way, the Swamp has been the MVP in recent weeks.
Yeah, 12 consecutive sellouts. Fans did their part, no question about it, even with it being an early game. I think it's clearly the biggest win in Billy Napier's career here. It could be the biggest game we've won in 12, 15 years, quite honestly, at home. I can't think of one right off the top of my head. Zach's question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, should the Gators rout FSU? Spread's only around 2. I mean, on paper, yes. Florida State's only won 2 games. They finally scored for the first time this year, 21 points last week against Charleston Southern. They're starting a true freshman quarterback as well. I think he played last week. Anything can happen. I mean, we've seen it in college football. It happened last week. Nobody thought Florida would win. Nobody thought Auburn would win. Nobody thought Oklahoma would win, right? So you got to go play.
Yeah, that's really a shock in the SEC right there. This big, powerful conference everybody talks about being the scourge of college football. To have those 3 team wins last weekend, and it was at week 12, we could never have seen that coming. What happened, Shane? How did that happen, and why is it so cataclysmic?
Well, you know, the reason it happened is because there's no dominant teams in football anymore. There's so much parity across the country. Oklahoma has struggled, especially offensively, all year long. They've played good defense, but they just took it to Alabama.
They fired their coordinator.
What's that?
They fired their offensive coordinator out 2 weeks ago out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, they changed. They turned into a running football team. Here's a text on the Titan More text line from Gator Guy. He says Heather Dinich correct on Alabama at 13 and Ole Miss at 14. Hopefully moving up to 11 and 12 by the end of the year. You got to ask yourself: do we want to see Alabama and Ole Miss in the playoffs, or do we want to see Arizona State and Boise State? Head-to-head, Alabama and Ole Miss would destroy those 2 teams by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And if South Carolina beats Clemson, they deserve a spot in the top 12.
Where in the world does South Carolina come from? I just didn't see that, Shane. I mean,
well, It's because everybody can beat everybody in today's college football. Honestly, South Carolina, they sit at 8-3, I believe. They should be 9-2. They got royally screwed against LSU. They had two pick sixes that both were called back due to roughing the passer or unnecessary roughness. They were terrible calls. Um, so it'll be interesting to see because if Clemson wins, they could get into the playoffs. So it's wide open. Um, you know, I know the Gator fans are excited about where their program is headed after the last couple of weeks, but there's a lot of schools like that across the country. So,
I don't know that there's a lot of schools that had two turnaround games like that back to back, upsetting playoff teams.
well, LSU is not a playoff team. Ole Miss was.
Well, they were at the time.
Well, they were on the outskirts looking
They
in.
they were among the top 13 or 14. Look, it was a team that Florida hasn't been able to beat in 5 years. A program that was in ashes. I got called out last night by one of my listeners, accusing me of saying all kinds of things about the program. Look, we've both been critical of the program. You somewhat more than I have. I don't deny what I said was deserved, but to see this team just completely there's a story there somewhere and they've just touched on it. Somebody found a soul someplace during the open date. And these kids who never stop believing, the one thing I heard, and I heard a lot of players talk last couple of weeks, they said the one thing they love, you can like Billy as the head coach or not, you can give him credit or blame. The fact is, he was consistent to them. He says in his comments, he said, I'm an adult. I can control my environment, but these kids don't know how to get out of the entanglement of social media when they get hammered by these fans. I don't know if it's true or not. Sounds reasonable, but somehow he was a steadying hand, like him or not, whether you want to see him come back or not. And by the way, his play calling is pretty dead gum good, as you pointed out. So I'm not sitting there saying he's the be all end all. They won the championship, but my gosh, what we've just seen, some performances we've seen, Bryce Thornton. We have a day, Bryce Thornton. I tried to remember. I think I remember vaguely, and I couldn't find it in the record, Shane. I think one Gator intercepted 3 passes in a game. I think he might return one or two of them for pick sixes. An old timer who used to coach at Miami for Lou Saban, not Nick Saban, and he was a big fullback for Florida. He breathed like a freight train when he ran the ball. He was playing on defense back in those days. He picked three. I'm pretty sure we're talking way back when Shane.
Well, Will White, who was my teammate and came in the same year as a freshman, had 3 receptions at
he did.
Alabama
That's
in
correct.
1990.
He did. Yes, he did. I
Planet
didn't see
Gator,
that one. I saw Joe Vasquez. Go ahead.
Planet Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts on strength and conditioning has been the worst part of Billy's program. I feel like it's more important than an OC. I do think they'll make changes in the strength and conditioning program. I don't know what. I still don't think they're going to hire an offensive coordinator. I just don't think so. I mean, nobody was complaining about offensive coordinator or play call in the last 2 weeks, right? I mean, people still complain, but when you win the game, that solves a lot of problems.
No doubt. And Billy said, I realize that in this game, they love you when you win, they hate you when they lose. That's always the way it's been. And it's been very pronounced lately. These Gator fans who, like the old saying goes, wake up on third base and think they had a triple, and God bless them, all of them. They're all enjoying it right now. And by the way, there's a lot of room on the bandwagon now for the front runners who want to jump on there and take part. But it has been fun. It's been unbelievable. And I mean, what Bryce Thornton did, I'm not sure we quite realize in the short amount of time what he did to turn that game around. I mean, he is, by the way, the SEC Defensive Player of the Week.
Florida victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators, joined today to make Florida victorious. Speaking of that, text from Daryl on the Titan More text line. Watching Buddy's show last night, I don't get into flipping players and recruiting. It doesn't count until the ink dries on paper, and plus NIL money comes into play. So, Buddy, I know you're excited about the recruiting. They flipped a lot of kids in the last few days, probably more to come. I should know this, but I don't even know when early signing day is. I know it's coming up pretty soon. Um, but again, I do not follow recruiting until the players are on the roster.
Well, you don't
Uh,
have to follow recruiting. Now, someone like Andy, I'm not smart enough to know about this. All the people who do follow recruiting, and I don't follow, I did track down these names. It doesn't take a genius to say, oh, well, we'll see. No, no, there's something going on. The kids are flocking to this program like I don't remember in a long time. And if you listen to what Lagway's saying, his invitation for them, the responses, these players are saying, they're reversing their decisions. Some have been committed over a year to places like USC, etc. So something is going on there on flipping. There's something definitely happening. If you don't think there is, well, you're not following anything whatsoever about football.
you know who's flipping a lot of players from Alabama?
No.
Auburn.
Oh, you know that why they're flipping them. According to my friend last night,
Money.
Rob Brown. Rob
Money.
Brown, who knows all the money people. He says, this one guy's got gazillion dollars just pumping into Auburn. They got money. They spend millions on transfer portal and also flipping players.
Yeah, I think Auburn has a very good chance of beating Alabama. You know, buddy, did you realize that Auburn has never lost to Alabama in
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa?
yes, I do remember that. I
They've
do that.
never lost in,
Sometimes,
in Tuscaloosa, but
well,
they've only
let's say,
played there like 5 times.
yeah, that's true.
Text on the Titan Bar text line from Josh. He says, "Buddy, can you ask Buddy that the if the Gators are now an elite football program after beating two ranked teams in a row?"
No, they're not. Okay, like I know it's a joke on me. Okay, I'll bring it on. I got broad shoulders. I just don't put words in my mouth into something I didn't say. I did say that the softball team at that point wasn't still an elite program. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll acknowledge if I was. But the bottom line is no. Florida's not an elite football program. Shane, you know that. It has been for quite some time. Just a winning football team would be a good thing, which now they got a pretty good chance of being. Getting to a bowl game, which seems so. We used to laugh at the Citrus Bowl. What did Coach Spurrier say? You can't spell citrus out of UT. I get it. All of a sudden, the bowl game, we're talking about you, Shane, said you can't wait to go to the Music City Bowl for crying
That's
out
where I
loud.
want to go.
I know, nothing to do with football either.
Well, yeah, that's a great town.
That's not, no, but that's not football. I mean, yeah, Hawaii,
Well,
Honolulu is a great town. The point
well,
is
hell, we
that,
should go to the damn Bahamas Bowl then.
well, some people do. I want to
I
go
mean,
to the
I can
Sugar Bowl.
promise you, and I may be way off base here, but if we did a poll with the Gator Nation, would they rather play in Tampa in the Gasparilla Bowl, the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, or the Music City Bowl? I will put a lot of money on the Nashville wins.
Okay, fine. I don't think it's that big a deal. It's convenience for me. I hear people say, well, I wanted to go here because my aunt lives there. Okay, that's fine. We all got our reasons. I think a bowl game of any kind, to think that, let's just throw out some names. I'm not saying these are the teams. The Gator Bowl will fill up with Gator fans. They will have a packed house. Remember not long ago when they couldn't sell their tickets to games? This team will go in there and they'll sell out. And if they play someone like Clemson, which they could, what about Kansas? If they could get Kansas, probably not. There are still decent teams out there that haven't played very tough games. I'd love to see the game play. So that would be a good payday for everybody. I think they're in line. We'll see. They do have to beat Florida State first, however. And there are some people out there who actually believe Florida State can do it. I don't know about that. It's a pretty bit. I don't remember the last time Florida went into Tallahassee as a 15-point favorite.
No, I don't remember that either. Barone says, give him the Gator Bowl, the Gasparilla Bowl. I can drive there. He's like, buddy.
I'm not. I'm convinced.
Chris Remayak on the Titan MR text line. If we're singling out players, how about Caleb Banks? Wow, he's been greatly improved.
Wow,
His
what a
draft
yeah,
stock has
yeah.
improved. Yeah, he's
Hey
played
man,
outstanding. He
there's
is,
five or six of them, Shane, and those are two. Banks is one of them. He had a remarkable day. You wanted the front seven to play, and even that there that bend but don't break defense that you criticized kind of in your broadcast. The fact is, they got pressure, and they got pressure just on the beastly play of guys like Banks.
Yeah, Zach asked, can Banks return next season? Either Banks or Cam Jackson. One of them has another year of eligibility. I
Both
can't
really
remember
good
which one,
players.
but we'll see. Ryan says, what is the standard next season, in your opinion, buddy? I'll give you mine after you.
Well, I think you said it on my program, got to win 8 or 9 or 10 games next year.
Got to
If
win
they-
9 minimum. You got to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go quite that far, but
Well, think about it. The reason I'm saying that is because if you win 9 or 10, you're probably getting, if you win 10, you're getting in. But you can't go 7-5 again. No way. Can't go 8-4.
Are we talking the standard or are we talking about our prediction?
I mean, he said, where'd the question go?
You said standard.
Well, he's referring to for next year.
I know, but still there's a difference. The standard is what you expect a team, and the minimum would be anything less to be disappointed. A good year would still be 8 wins next year, would not be a standard.
Yeah. Mark wants to know where the Gasparilla is. Played at Raymond James. We played in it,
Yeah.
what, 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Mark,
Got
think
beat by
Gasparilla,
UCF.
think Tampa. It's pretty simple to figure that. Come on, Mark, you're better than that.
And Chris wants to know what's the deal with Andy Jean? Is he hurt? Hasn't seen the field. Don't know the answer. He was hurt for a while, but I think he's back. I don't know if he'll ever play. I still think the Gators will go out and get 2 veteran receivers for next year.
They already got some good-looking young receivers coming along too.
Well, true, but I'm about 100% sure they're going to go get some veterans.
Oh, I have no doubt. They're already flipping guys. I have no doubt they will for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't realize, and I missed this live, and I really can't see from that lousy press box in Gainesville, which is just awful. You can't see the TV because of the sun. You can hardly see down below. I'm an old man, but I can see better than that with my field glasses. The fact is, I missed how many times DJ made the Mahomes throw, that underhanded sidearm throw. I saw one. I guess somebody told me he threw 4 like that, Shane, did he?
He really only threw one sidearm, and that was a wide receiver screen. The other ones were little check downs when he eluded pressure. Yeah, he threw one almost below, like submarine style.
Softball. Yeah. Oh, like a softball throw.
Like Kent DeColvey. I was trying to find this. Somebody asked, where do the players want it? It doesn't matter where the players want to go play in the bowl game. Doesn't matter where we want them to go. It's where the bowl committee sends us.
Exactly, no question. Hey, Shane, I know we have the mixed marriages this week. I know I'm married to a FSU co-ed right now. A lot of people have households that are divided. Jordan Castell, did you hear about him?
I have not heard. What about
It's a good story. He of course, had a big game. He's from Orlando. He grew up down there, and his family has mostly all Florida State fans. His grandmother's name was Desi. He said, and whenever he lost to FSU, his grandmother wore him out, and he said he wants to change that around. In his house, it's a big deal. They respect Miss Desi. Desi's grandma was giving you a hard time, right? He said, yeah, Desi. He says, Desi Castell. He says, she says, y'all can't beat us. Y'all know that. I'm ready to talk after this game. He's smiling. So anyway, he goes and talks about his grandma, and she gives him the business. It is different. Do you have anybody in your family you're close to that's an FSU fan?
No, I didn't have anybody who's a Gator fan in my family.
That's true. I forget, Shane. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, your Egg Bowl is your Super Bowl down there.
Egg Bowl is some hatred, bro.
Yeah.
It is hatred. This text says, nobody, it's playoffs at minimum, or we're wasting time and supposed talent.
Okay. Then I won national championship, fire Billy. All right.
No, he just said the playoffs. You don't have to win it, just get in it.
I didn't say that was not possible, nor did I say I know what you'd like it to be, but you just got to 500 and won a bowl game. Give it a minute. All right, Shane, you're the one who says, I'm not ready to say or turn this around?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I
Okay.
mean, they're two great wins, no question about it. But
And I'm tired of hearing what the standard is next year.
well, I
I'm,
think I think it's we've had so many losing seasons. It's time to be somewhat relevant.
of
And I
course
think
we
people,
want that. Of
well, I
course
think
we
if
want
people
that.
think if DJ is going to be our quarterback next year, we need to be in the playoffs.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'm good with that, Shane. What you need to be and what you think's going to happen, what's reality, or there's a difference in those.
Well,
I'm
I
agreeing
agree
with you.
1,000% of that because I did not think we could beat Ole Miss.
Exactly. Let's get past that. What just happened? A remarkable win. How do you think are going these days for Lane? Not too good. That reversal of fortune. He's out of that. He wanted to be out of the SEC championship game. He's out.
Yeah. All right, I was reading some of these comments here. Everybody's asking about the Tropicana Dome or whatever it's called now. I don't know. I don't know where. I'm pretty sure people that are
There's no
asking.
Tropicana. There's no Tropicana field. The roof is blown
Right.
off.
I'm pretty sure the Rays are playing in the Yankees
That's correct.
AAA
It's not a better field.
stadium this year.
That's correct.
Okay, let's see. Uh, he says 252 says you're either getting better or worse. No excuses next year. Fourth year of Billy. So
Okay.
come on, buddy. Don't let them rattle you, buddy.
I'm not riled at all. I'm very happy with what's going on. I think we've had two of the most glorious days at the swamp in a long time. I think Gator fans should be a little bit grateful. Hey, what week is this, Shane?
Or say we.
Thanksgiving
Oh,
week.
Thanksgiving week. Yeah.
Be a
Oh,
little bit
I need to respond to
grateful.
this. I said something
Okay.
that I missed. Corey's correct. What I said about Alabama has never beaten Auburn in Tuscaloosa. I failed to mention when Nick Saban wasn't
Nick
the coach.
Saban. I threw in Nick Saban. You didn't hear
Yeah,
me.
that was my fault, Corey. But no other coach has beaten Auburn in Tuscaloosa. Now they only played, I think, 5 times, 4 or 5 times before Saban showed up. So
I think five.
um, yeah. All right, buddy. So you're following recruiting now. You're recruit Nick. Which of these guys that we flipped are you excited about?
Well, I mean, I haven't had a chance to watch video, and I would like to be able to do that. I just know based on what my reasoning is, and you know this too, Shane, when you consistently get 4 and 5 star guys who were committed to another school like USC or whatever, and suddenly they change their mind, they must be good players. Now, I'm excited about the kid Jones from Florida State because it gives Florida a terrific 1-2 punch at the quarterback position. I'm not saying they're both great players because Jones is not yet. I think, as I predicted, he would be. Certainly, CJ is a great player. DJ's what I always want to call him CJ. Oh, we just have a player named CJ. DJ is a great player, and I think we ought to be grateful for that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and assess you. I can read you what I read last night about what we expect, what would happen, and what we saw happen, and what they're saying about it. There is obviously a cataclysmic change here. Let's see.
You're using big
Uh,
words on the program today,
well,
buddy.
all right, it's a big change. Ty Jackson. I don't know Ty Jackson. You don't know him. He's from Seminole Ridge.
I don't know any of them.
He was committed to Southern Cal. Pretty good player. A guy named Tunkara was a wide receiver, 2025. They say he's something else. He was in Arizona. I think he might be a Tampa kid. I'm not sure. He's 6'4". No, this guy's 6'4", 195. League City, Texas. Ever heard that? League City, Texas. Apparently, quite a player. So there's a kid who was only a 3-star, Jahari Medlock, but Cincinnati. He's flipping. They say he's a heck of a player. So I don't know. I'm not an expert. I just know what the people say who follow recruiting. This is significant. That means it's something. It's not nothing that these kids are flipping. And we hadn't even heard the list yet.
True. Rob says, have you heard the rumor about Armstrong being the #1 candidate for the Southern Miss head coaching job? I have not. Wouldn't surprise me because he was coaching there before. I think you will see some coaches leave and some new coaches come. Daniel says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, he's very happy for Billy winning these last 2 weeks. I know his dad is looking down and is proud of his son. Billy's family has to be proud. Billy's a good man.
For sure, absolutely. It's a big week for Billy, and happy for him. I think the one thing we all agree upon, whether you hated Billy as a coach or not, or a play caller, he's a decent man, a good family man. I love the program he's putting together, where the character plays a part in it. He says it did. Hey, Shane, let me ask you a question before we go. What's the most you didn't pay? You wouldn't because you don't have to. What's the most you ever heard of anybody paying for a ticket to a regular season football game?
Well, I'm a season ticket holder, buddy, so I do pay.
Yeah, but you're paying a regular fee. You're not going to go pay
Well, it
one.
ain't regular fee. Them damn fees are mighty expensive. Uh, I've never gone. I don't like to go to games, so I can't answer that question.
All right, I'm going to give you mine. In the national championship game out in Columbus, out in not Columbus, in Arizona, when they beat Ohio State, I had a big weekend of selling books, and I got a little extra cash. And Brendan, at that point in time, was not yet a working media person. He was with me, and I said, "Here's $800. Go buy yourself a ticket to the game." He got shut out. He couldn't buy a ticket for $800. I thought, this is getting ridiculous. Listen to this. Texas A&M in Texas, Saturday, the most expensive regular season ticket anybody can think of on record. Okay? Just the current get-in for that game, $741.
Oh yeah,
Purchase price, $1,079, Shane, for a single ticket to Texas A&M, Texas.
and that's at the very top row.
Well, it's still $1,000.
The good seats are probably about $2,500. Yeah.
Well, no, you didn't hear me. The get-in.
Get in $700 something dollars. That's at the top of the stadium.
741.
That stadium seats like 110,000.
Well, Shane, is a lot of money or not?
It is a lot of money, but them Texas people have a lot of money.
Okay.
And they'll spend it on this because they have not played each other in quite some time. And it's for all the marbles.
Yeah. Haven't talked much.
Unfortunately, we're going to be playing the same time they are. That's why, buddy, we have the crew we have doing our game.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. So, what did you think of the top 25 in basketball? Doesn't mean anything. As far as settling in down there, right around it's 18, 17, 18. They're better than that. You think the whole thing with Todd has put a downcast on the basketball program? I don't think it hurt them in the rankings, but they are really a good basketball team, and they're going to light it up. But they're going to be heard from. I think they're going to lead 18, in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, they're a very good team. I mean, it's just you got to have the ball bounce your way to make it to the Elite Eight in college basketball. We'll find out more about the basketball team this weekend because we're playing some teams equivalent to us, not a lot of directional schools and what have you. So should be a good 2-game series. We know we're playing Wake Forest. We don't know who our second opponent's going to be. So it'll give you an idea of where we stand, no question.
Yeah.
You know, UConn got beat yesterday. The 2-time defending champ got beat in overtime.
Did you see Hurley go off? Did you see his rage?
Yeah, he rages
Crazy.
a lot. He
Surprised
rages
him for that.
So, all right, buddy. Who you got on your show tonight?
Well, tonight is Laura Meadows is hosting. Rob Brown will be there. I will join that show tonight for a little Thanksgiving greeting, and we're having a short week. Tomorrow's our last show of the week. We're taking a Thanksgiving off this weekend, and after the Florida State weekend, we're getting ready for the bowl season. So it's a good time to talk Gator football, good time to talk college football. Don't forget, 9 o'clock tonight, Laura Meadows. I'll join you, Rob Brown, maybe David Whitley. We'll see what it brings on Thanksgiving week, Shane.
All right. That's Buddy. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
That's Buddy. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll talk a little Gator hoops with Chris Harry, who's the main guy writing for FloridaGators.com. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors are Florida Cracker Kitchen, Comfort Temp, Peachland Dental, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Cogent Bank, UF Bookstores, Florida Victorious, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Electronics World, Miapa Latin Cafe, 84 Lumber, Baker's Sporting Goods, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Oquito America, Gator Bait Media, Bishop's Barbecue, Los Linderos Tequila, Sunshine Holiday Lights, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wow. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
After serving over 100 families over the past several years, we're super excited to kick off the holiday season. I'm Dylan, I'm Garrett, and we're Sunshine Holiday Lights. We all know how stressful it can be to decorate your home during the holidays. Our services include installation of all material, maintenance, takedown, and storage of the material throughout the year. If you want to spend more time with your family this year, give Sunshine Holiday Lights a call.
And now for a special announcement from Steve Spurrier.
Spurrier's Gridiron gift cards are on sale for 20% off between November 26th and December the 2nd. You can go to spurriers.com and order a digital card or stop by our restaurant in Celebration Point and pick up some today for the Gators and the people that love good food in your life. Use the code GC20 and get 20% off. That's right, 20% off gift cards with the code GC20.
Get yours today at spurriers.com.
Naysayers, setbacks, injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians, great food and southern hospitality, and the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida, floridacracker.com. Back to the Titan MR Highline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, senior writer, FloridaGators.com, Chris Harry. Good morning, Chris. How you doing?
Morning, Shane. How are you?
Good. Gator Hoops.
Been a couple good days to talk Gator sports, hasn't it been? Hello? You're frozen. Shane's frozen.
Premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, Dave & Buster's. Gridiron sponsors are Florida Cracker Kitchen, Comfort Temp, Peachland Dental, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Cogent Bank, UF Bookstores, Florida Victorious, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Electronics World, Miapa Latin Cafe, 84 Lumber, Baker's Sporting Goods, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Oquito America, Gator Bait Media, Bishop's Barbecue, Los Linderos Tequila, Sunshine Holiday Lights, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wow. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
After serving over 100 families over the past several years, we're super excited to kick off the holiday season. I'm Dylan, I'm Garrett, and we're Sunshine Holiday Lights. We all know how stressful it can be to decorate your home during the holidays. Our services include installation of all material, maintenance, takedown, and storage of the material throughout the year. If you want to spend more time with your family this year, give Sunshine Holiday Lights a call.
Welcome back
to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We had a transformer below, no power, so we're going old school by the phone. Good thing Chris Harry does not live anywhere near us. All right, Chris, where were we when we got taken off the air here? What were you saying?
Does this mean, with you sitting there just with this phone icon, does this mean I'm the host right now?
Yeah, you could be the host.
Okay.
Would you like to be the host?
No.
All right, so let's talk about
Let's
the
talk.
Mighty Gator basketball team. Heading down to Orlando, so people get to watch the Gators on Thanksgiving Day, and then on Friday, opening game against the Demon Deacs of Wake Forest. What can you tell us about them?
Okay, well, the Demon Deacs, they're 6-1. They played a schedule kind of similar to what Florida has, not particularly challenging to date. I think it's important to note that they beat Florida last year up in Winston-Salem. The two teams played in the inaugural ACC-SEC challenge game up there. Florida was rolling along with a 9-point lead, I think about 15 minutes to go, and got outscored 44-24 the rest of the way. They got a couple dudes on the team that really hurt the Gators last year. One's by the name of Hunter Salas. He was a McDonald's All-American out of Nebraska who originally went to Gonzaga. And he hurt the Gators badly last year, I think, with 24 points. Another guy, they have a British point guard. It's about combo guard, but he's more on the ball, 6'6" kid, Cameron Hildreth, excuse me. He had a good game also, and Florida really had no answers. It was early on in the season. Zion Poland had just kind of joined the team like 3 or 4 games earlier. He didn't have a particularly good game that night. It was on the road. I think that they obviously Wake Forest has their attention. This game will be down in Orlando, and I keep calling it the Milk House, but I think it's called Advent Health now. And it's the same, all you people that have been to Wild World of Sports for your kids' events and stuff like that know the big arena down there. The Gators played in this tournament back in 2016, last year they went to the Elite Eight. It was a little different format. It was 8 teams back then. Florida finished 3rd. This will be a 4-team format. But unusual, Gators get the tougher team in the first round facing Wake Forest, and depending on the outcomes of the game, it's Wichita State and Minnesota on the other side of the bracket.
So early on in the season, has anything or any player stood out to you so far? And do you think does Todd have his rotation set already, or are we still going to wait until he gets to conference play and then kind of figure out exactly who gets how many minutes?
Yeah, I think the 9-man rotation is set now that Urban Klavjar has been ruled eligible. He's played 3 games thus far, and I'm thinking he's probably, and I've thought this since he joined the team and saw what he was capable of, about a 10-minute guy. Obviously could be more if foul trouble occurred or whatever, but relative to what you asked about the surprise, I'm not particularly surprised. I think you also asked about impressed. What Elijah Martin did the other day was pretty impressive. He started the season against USF. I think he went 3 for 13 from the floor and had a tough shooting from the 3-point line. He's shooting 43% from 3, upwards of near 50% from the floor now. But he's second leading rebounder on the team. He's second on the team in assists. He leads the team in steals. He does everything, and he's a voice on the team also. Really, I mean, when you think about it, he replaced Riley Kugel. And, what Riley Kugel gave you on a day-to-day basis, be it practice or in games, was a mystery to some degree. You just didn't know what you were going to get with him. And people always talk about Riley's body language, and I was on the show several times. I said his body language was the same whether he scored 24 or he scored 4. But Elijah Martin he says himself, he is a dog, and you want dogs on your team, and the dog mentality is contagious. And just getting going, Florida came into the season with aspirations to be a much better defensive team. I think they're headed in that direction, and he's one of the biggest reasons also, in addition to what he can do. He's just a both ends player, man. He's really, really, really good.
Have you noticed I mean, Walter Clayton Jr. is just a phenomenal basketball player, but has he played any different as like the so-called point guard? We know that the ball moves and what have you, and he's still scoring points, but does he look like he's playing any differently to you?
Not really, Shane. I just think the way the offense is designed, to your point, is that doesn't stick very often. Remember last year, Zion Pullen was an organizer and a floor general, and that ball stuck in his hands a lot. And I'm not saying that to his detriment or to making any light of that or anything. That's just the way they played last year. This team is more capable of doing things, more capable of getting a guy on the perimeter, whether it's Elijah, whether it's Walt, whether it's Denzel Aberdeen off the bench. Clouzar can drive to the basket, I think, from the wing. Will Richard can surprise you sometimes, especially when he drives baseline. It's just the ball. There's not going to be a guy that's going to night in, night out on this team going to be a 7-assist guy. I don't know Walter's going to do it because you want him to make plays with the ball, preferably scoring. He's shooting 51% from the floor overall right now, despite you kind of think he's struggling from the 3-point line. I think he's around 34% or so, which isn't terrible. I think it's going to get better, but he is an elite offensive player. He is the best player on the team. I know Elijah has really shown out the last few weeks, and Elijah now leads the team in scoring, believe it or not, after Walter only had 7 the other night. That was his low as a Gator, 7 points the other day. I think he had 8 points 3 times last year. But that's not a trend that's going to continue. But again, team finding its way, and they know what their options are on offense, and they got a lot of options. What I would like to see more, I want to see Ruben Chinyeo just be more forceful with the ball. Ball's bouncing off his hands when he gets the ball in the low post. I mean, we see him in practice just grab the ball and just go up and tomahawk the ball. He did it in a practice earlier this week, or I think it was late last week, actually. And Carlin Hartman stopped practice. It was at the Odo. Stop practice to him. That is what we want you to do. Do that. Alex Condon has gotten to the free throw line 36 times. That's the most of anybody on the team. He's only shooting 53% there. I think that needs to improve. He's a better free throw shooter than that. He was 63, I think, last year, and obviously one of his goals was to be better than that, but it looks good coming off his hand, so he needs to maybe just relax a little more and some things happen. But just off the top of my head, those are some things that need to get better.
Okay, here we go on the Titan Mark text line from James in Savannah.
Don't ask me about Olivier Rios. He's redshirting.
We're going to get one of those every time you come on here. He goes, I've not watched the Gators play a lot this year. Has Olivier played any, and will he play any the rest of the year?
Good grief. I mean, I said before, I think I've been on twice before talking about he's not playing this year. Then he finally came out and said he's redshirting, which I thought was common knowledge. He's not playing, okay? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get the guy in Savannah upset, but I mean, no, he's not. He's in a developmental season. He's doing everything asked of him. He's fine mentally. He understands his situation, and we'll see what this leads down the line. But that's been the plan all along since he got here.
Yeah.
If he was 7'9" and ready to play, don't you think he would have played already, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's Todd Golden and his staff's job to try to put the best players and try to win games. People failed to mention, too, he is a walk-on, correct? Correct, Chris?
Yes.
Not a scholarship athlete. I don't know how many other schools can get an walk-on opportunity. So he's kind of like Des Watson, if you compare the two sports. Everybody always wants Des to carry the football like the fridge. I'm like, it ain't going to happen, people.
Who the hell wants Des Watson? Nobody's ever asked that, have they? On your show?
Oh, they asked it yesterday on the program.
Well, I mean, you saw what it did for Ole Miss. What was it? They were 3 of 6 on conversion plays with the 325-pound. I can't imagine a 430-pound guy would be any better percentage-wise. So.
No, not at all. Chris, looking kind of, I got the schedule pulled up on my phone here since power's out. So after this tournament, we play Virginia, which I think they're struggling now that Tony Bennett, I don't know what his squad is going to be like, but he helps the coach. Arizona State and Bobby Hurley up in Atlanta. Then we got the Tar Heels in Charlotte. And then you got North Florida and Texas before you open conference play against the Wildcats in Rupp Arena.
And by the way, North Florida has beaten South Carolina and Georgia Tech this season. So don't sleep on that game, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, just not trying to get ahead of ourselves here because, one game at a time. We're going to be a coach right now, but we're in the media, I guess. Or you are. I'm not. You are.
You sure look like you are right now.
I mean, I'm on the phone with no power. What do you think about these games? Because, Arizona State, I think, was a tournament team last year. Bobby Hurley's been there for a while. Are these good tests for us? We know North Carolina is leading up into SEC play.
Yeah, I don't think Virginia's is anywhere near what we're accustomed to seeing from them, and that even includes their elite defensive play. They're just it's just when you have a great coach, you just don't roll another coach in there. And the guy who they promoted was there for a good portion of Tony Bennett's time, and he went to Charlotte and didn't have a great time at Charlotte. So it's a home game. The Gators will probably be heavy favorites in that game. Arizona State's okay. I don't think they're particularly great. It could conceivably be a quad 2 kind of game because it's at a neutral site in Atlanta. The North Carolina game is the stick. That in this tournament. I think Florida is expected to win this tournament in Orlando. If they don't, they'll be disappointed in doing so. But we'll know exactly, or we'll have a better idea of what this team is when they face North Carolina in basically a home game for them up in the Jordan Brand Classic in Charlotte. Really looking forward to that. But again, that's the last game, I believe, before Christmas. So we got a while to wait for that.
Yeah. Okay, so here you go. On YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Barone says, can Florida put Olivier on the field goal block unit? Imagine him pulling a Jarvis Moss type block. Okay, so now he's a 2-sport athlete. With Todd Golan, lend him for field goal block.
How about stick him out on the warning track and he just pluck fly balls that home runs off the over the fence?
Or
he doesn't jump that well. Okay, so I guarantee there's 50 guys on the Florida football team who can jump and have a better chance of blocking a field goal than Olivier right now. So
you don't think Billy should bring him over and line him up at wide out from the 10-yard line and have DJ throw him a fade route?
Yeah, and just throw him, and there's no way anybody could guard him, right?
Yeah, no way. Nobody could. So
let's put him on. Let's put him on the uneven bars and have him flip around in gymnastics meets and see what that looks like.
That would be real interesting for sure. Chris, looking at the league, obviously, I would say the number one goal for the Gator basketball team is to make the NCAA tournament. That's got to be the number one goal. Mm-hmm. Right now, as we sit here a few days before Thanksgiving, what's that win total need to be for the Gators to make sure we're in the tournament?
Well, obviously the goal is to be in a tournament, but that's not the goal of the team. The goal they want to make the tournament, and that's Spur used to have the list of goals, as you know quite well.
Right. Well, that's
and
the first goal. That's the first goal.
Correct, but they're not going to be satisfied making a turn. They want to win some games, and they win. And in order to do that, they have to make things as advantageous as possible relative to their seed. And so last year they were a 7 seed. I think. If you ask them, Todd Gold thinks they got screwed on the seeding after the 3-game run to get to the SEC championship game and lose their starting center to a compound fracture, whatever. But, top 4 seed is always preferable or preferred. So you get more out of it. You don't have to face anyone above you until that second weekend and what have you. So, that's what they're shooting for. But again, the league's a monstrosity, and Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M is going to be a very, very good team. I think I think Texas A&M has a chance to win the league actually with almost their whole team back. But the teams we mentioned off air, Auburn coming back to beat Iowa State. Auburn, people kind of forget about them, but they're a top 5 team. Alabama lost to Purdue, I think, a couple weeks ago. They have one loss. So some of these teams are playing in these tournaments or against these these big like non-conference kind of games to kind of build RPI. There's going to be losses. This is the time of year. November, December is kind of like a mini March Madness because there are some upsets that kind of, oh, they lost to that team. That's kind of what happens. But that's when teams are trying to figure some stuff out. But Florida was 11-7 last year in the Southeastern Conference. 11-7 this year in the Southeastern Conference would be a good record. I don't know that they'd be happy with that. I think they want to. I think they want to make some hay. They have the schedule, of course, is what it is because it's the SEC, but it's not particularly advantageous as far as home games go. Their hardest games are on the road. I think we've mentioned before, where they don't play Kentucky at home for the first time in 63 years. They don't play Alabama at home. They don't play Auburn at home. So there's some things that don't work in Florida's favor on that front. So they're going to have to go on the road and set their jaw and stare down some pretty good teams and win some games. I mean, I think if Florida was to go 12-6 in the SEC, they would get a 4 seed. But these guys believe they're a really, really good team, and they're just figuring some things out and finding themselves right now. But again, it because of the schedule, which isn't great, it may take us a while to find out just how good they are. But their expectations with this schedule sitting right in front of them right now. First thing, you talk about checking boxes and goals. You got to go to Orlando and win that tournament because they're right now. I think they're number 7, 8, depends, changes every day in the Ken Palm top 10. So expectations are high for this week, starting this week. So.
This question here, I'm curious about it too. Veron wants to know on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Any reason why Florida doesn't do yearly non-conference games with Miami and UCF in basketball? Seems like it would be easy to schedule and book in short road trips.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that those other schools want to do that either. I don't know that they don't have any home and homes other than their standard Florida State game this year. Normally the ACC SEC challenge would probably be a better game. If Virginia is not a good team this year, so that's going to hurt them a little bit. Whereas they played, Wake Forest last year. Wake Forest, it was a quad 1 game on the road. They don't get a quad 1 coming in. In the old days, Florida was always matched up when they played. Either it was the old Big East SEC challenge or the Big 12 SEC. They usually got a pretty good opponent because Florida was considered a brand name. They're still a brand name, but they're not viewed by those folks at ESPN to be in that upper echelon right now with those other schools. The Kentuckys, the Arkansas, the Alabamas, the Auburn. So they don't get that great game. One of these days, I would love to see Duke or North Carolina in the O-Dome or Florida playing in one of those places. I went to the only Florida game at Cameron Indoor Stadium in the last 100 years, I believe, in 1999, and that was kind of cool. So I would like to see that happen one day, but Florida has to do its part and win some games, but get its way back up to where Todd Golden believes his team can be, this program.
All right. Good stuff, Chris. Y'all have a safe trip down to Orlando. We'll be watching while we're stuffing our face with turkey on Thursday. What do we know the time slots for I know it depends on if you win or lose, but what are the 2 time slots for Friday's game?
1 o'clock and 3:30.
Perfect.
There you go.
Good stuff, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Same to you, Shane. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care, man.
And thanks for being the host of the show as well.
Finish the season, okay? Go up into those semis. What did Spurrier call it? Semis? Go up and finish.
Got to be
Go up and finish the job.
Well, we should, but I'm not playing. But I hope we do. I'm pulling for us.
Take care.
All right, that's Chris Harris. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit OgreInsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We'll be here tomorrow. Brent Beer will be here with our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter on Wednesday, along with JC doing our Peaksland Dental Thanksgiving picks. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.